Daisetsu Suzuki once claimed that much of Japanese culture has been shaped by Zen. His book Zen and Japanese Culture, first written in English in 1938, became essential reading for anyone studying Japanese Zen. As one of the key figures who carried Zen beyond Japan, his central idea is that Zen quietly runs through the country's art, poetry, and even its way of war. Zen began in China and reached Japan in the Kamakura period, brought by the monks Eisai and Dogen. Protected by the shogunate, it grew alongside samurai culture, and its monks became artists, scholars, and mystics at once. Take ink painting. Monks drew it with as few lines as possible, ignoring realism, leaving a deliberate sense of something missing. To Suzuki, this points to a value deep in Japanese culture. Imperfection itself can be beautiful. When that imperfection carries a feeling of age and simplicity, it becomes sabi, the sabi of wabi-sabi. Suzuki translated wabi as poverty and praised it as the ability to feel a worth beyond the fashions and fame of one's time. Sabi is the quiet loneliness of a scene with nothing around it, a stillness that invites deep reflection. To find beauty in that, he said, is characteristically Japanese. This same feeling shaped haiku, perhaps the shortest poetry in the world, just 17 syllables. Its great master, Matsuo Basho, was known for expressing sabi, and Suzuki argued that Zen shaped haiku deeply. His favorite example is Basho's famous poem about a frog leaping into an old pond and the sound of water. There is a story that Basho wrote it after his Zen teacher asked him, not about the recent rain or green moss, but about what existed before the world itself began. Basho answered with the frog and the splash. The tale is probably a later invention, yet Suzuki offered it as a perfect image of how the intuition behind haiku and the intuition of Zen are, at heart, one and the same. He read that splash as a flash of insight into what he called the cosmic unconscious. Behind all this lies a concept Suzuki returned to often. Q, or emptiness, the idea that things exist but have no fixed substance, that everything is always changing and bound together by relationships. Emptiness, he said, is a storehouse of infinite possibility. The art form he tied most closely to it is the tea ceremony, refined by Sen no Rikyu, himself a Zen student. Tea and Zen were said to share one taste. Suzuki called the philosophy of tea a philosophy of poverty and emptiness. It rests on 4 elements: harmony, respect, purity, and tranquility. Inside the small tea room, everyone is equal. The space is spotless, and the senses are quieted. Suzuki stressed tranquility most, since it holds both wabi and sabi, the beauty of stripping away all that is unnecessary. Warlords of the warring era loved tea for this reason. Exhausted by battle and always on guard, they entered the tea room to touch, for a moment, the realm of emptiness, and came out renewed. That leads to a harder question. Why did warriors whose trade was killing need a religion of compassion? Zen monks trained in Chinese classics and Confucian ethics taught the warlords manners, judgment, and a sense of humanity and justice. Nearly every famous Sengoku lord was raised in some way by Zen, and the soul of the samurai was his sword. Suzuki argued that swordsmanship itself was tied to Zen. When an enemy strikes, your eyes want to follow the blade, but the moment your mind stops and fixes on it, you are lost. He called this stopping, an attachment that traps you in calculation and hands you to the enemy. The same is true of dancing. The instant you try to look good, your mind catches on each movement and the ego steps forward. The answer is to make the mind completely free, spread evenly through the whole body, rather than fixed in one place. In that state of no mind, the body simply does what is needed. This evokes what we now call flow, even Bruce Lee's line, "Don't think, feel." Suzuki's book, however, drew heavy criticism, especially from abroad. Many argued he forced all of Japanese culture into one Zen mold, ignoring the loud, colorful, assertive traditions like kabuki and ukiyo-e that have nothing to do with wabi-sabi. His passionate praise of Zen, Bushido, and the sword struck some as glorifying death, uncomfortable given how Zen rhetoric was later used to fuel wartime militarism. Others noted that his sharp split between an intuitive, spiritual East and a rational, technological West contradicts the very doctrine of emptiness which dissolves such oppositions. His Zen, they said, was really a modernized, westernized reading centered on personal enlightenment. Yet Suzuki never hid that he was reshaping Zen for modern people. He believed a teaching stays alive only when each generation adds its own thought to it. His work caused misunderstandings, but it also opened much of the world to Zen and Japanese culture, and that interest has not faded.